Gumdrops After Dark streams. Yeah, that's my Bumdrops channel, moderated by Roisin. But yeah, we should be live and direct on the Wowhead homepage. I'm going to go ahead and hide my view count so I don't get spooked once again. Sneak up with me, absolutely. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining me today. We're going to be talking through the weekly Wowhead wrap up, the weekly WoW economy wrap up on Wowhead. It's just been published. I've got a few bits and pieces to talk through, some topics covered and discussed in the community this past week. This is edition number 36. And before we get started, I'd just like to share once again that we do have an active giveaway on the stream today. 30 days of WoW game time available. All you have to do to participate is type the word goblin in the chat, and we'll be announcing the winner after we finish chatting through the Wowhead blog today. I have been able to fix the Nightbot giveaway thing, so there should now be additional luck provided for subscribers of the channel, just to give you guys a little bit of an extra chance to win for those that have been supporting. Let me see if I can bring this up on stream just to demonstrate the fact that it is active. There we go. So this is eligible users on the left hand side. We've got everybody is eligible with the keyword goblin, and then it's tracking my chat there on the right hand side. So I'll keep this to one side. We can check in with that as the time goes on. I do have the backup running again just in case something doesn't work again. But yeah, fingers crossed everything works out. So yeah, let's get started. Thank you everybody for joining me today. This is, as I say, the 36th edition of the WoW Economy Weekly Wrap-Up, and as we do every week, we talk about the topics and guides and content that's been published in the WoW Economy and Gold Making community over the last week. And this week we're going to be taking a look at the recent alpha build for Battle for Azeroth, which includes some profession changes and maybe some speculation on mission tables in terms of gold making. How and why to use banking alts and even alt banks. So people using guild banks and stuff. There's a newbie crash course, introductions to gold making, along with dispelling some myths and misconceptions regarding gold making for new people to the community. Every single edition is available to check out on Wowhead. There's a link to that on the blog post. Let me actually just add the link to this week's post for my command here, so you guys can follow along if you want to. There's a link for it, here it is. There we go. So exclamation point Wowhead, and we should have the latest link. That's perfect. So the link to the blog post itself in the chat at the moment if you'd like to follow along and you're not watching from the Wowhead homepage. Extra sub luck, I'm not getting that badge back until after the giveaway then. Oh my goodness. So, as I was saying, archive of every single post is available on Wowhead every week. For those that are new to the stream or new to the blog post itself and tuned in for the first time, my name is Gumdrops and I'm the lead moderator for the WoW Economy subreddit and the accompanying Discord server. The Discord server itself has just crossed over 23,000 members, so it's a very active and friendly community. Pretty much the go-to place for gold making in Warcraft at the moment. I'm also the support manager and user evangelist for Trade Skill Master, which is the add-on I use and the majority of the gold making community use to make their gold. It's an auction house add-on suite for World of Warcraft, and in the blog series here on Wowhead, I hope to cover and showcase some of the interesting topics, discussions and content that have been going on over the last week in the gold making and WoW economy community. Some of it might be things you've missed as a veteran gold maker, or it might just be an interesting collection of stuff to check out for the first time as a new or aspiring goblin. So I don't ever intend to put together step-by-step guides. It's more of a running commentary of the community with some further reading links and my own commentary and opinions, etc. As the saying goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So I really like that quote, and it's exactly the mindset that I have when I'm trying to teach gold making. Wow, Druz the Enforcer jumping in with an incorrect information. The giveaway is still active, so you can ignore that in the chat. You still can join in by typing the word goblin in the chat. Where's my giveaway thing? Yeah, Druz is jumping the gun there. Druz is not correct. The giveaway is still currently active. So, first topic of this week's blog is the recent alpha build for Battle for Azeroth. There wasn't very much of interest in there, apart from a couple of mounts and a couple of toys and pets. The full coverage is, of course, on Wowhead. There's a bunch of more information on Warfronts and stuff like that, but we're not too interested in that here on the gold making stream. We're all about the professions and the economy side of things. Most of the stuff changed in this build is all about the spelling and name changes. The monolite ore has been changed to monelite or monolith, however you want to pronounce it. So a lot of the changes in those spells has just been a spelling change. But there has been an introduction of a new mount called the Mecha Mogul Mark II for engineers to make. This is a bind-on pickup mount. Let's go down to this bit here. Yeah, brand new mount, Mecha Mogul Mark II, and it's possible that this could be an evolution of the Sky Golem, based on the flavor text of the new mount in Battle for Azeroth, because it does reference mining directly, but that's just kind of speculation, not confirmed or not testable yet on the alpha. So this would be amazing if it would have another mount accessible to gather stuff without having to dismount. But we'll have to see how that goes and how it plays out in the next expansion, or once we're able to test it. It is bind on pickups, you can't sell this. This is an engineer's exclusive mount. And it does look pretty amazing, and you can see it here on the Wowhead model viewer once it loads up. Looks very much like the Mimrodon's head. Forget which animation it is. It goes pretty crazy once you're selecting the different spells. But interestingly, this does require less materials than some of the other profession crafts. Like, for example, the hardened Tempest legs from leatherworking requires 40 Expulsum, the new version of Blood of Sargeras, whereas this new mount from engineering only requires 20. So it's going to be interesting to see how the other materials required for the new mount are obtained, and whether it's some kind of once per week thing or some kind of quest line or something. Because it's interesting to compare the different items and how much Expulsum they need. So for example, these hardened Tempest leggings, they require up to 40 Expulsum depending on the rank, and then this mount only requires 20, which you'd kind of compare that to the Blood of Sargeras situation. It's cheaper since it's bind on pickup. That could be the case, Totems, that's very true. But yeah, other additions to the game in the Battle for Azeroth alpha build this week. There's a new pet available for enchanting. It's not clear whether this is something you craft or whether it's a reward for a quest line. But it's kind of an enchanted tiki mask, kind of callback to Crash Bandicoot. It'd be cool if it had some reference in there. And some other changes for enchanting include renaming of the lesser enchants from Brand to Pact, and the greater enchants, i.e. the binding enchants in Legion, have been renamed from Sigil to Seal. So just kind of a little administration situation there regarding the enchants. There were some numbers tweaked for the old world enchants or previous expansion enchants as well, but it's not clear as well again if that is an intended change or just a temporary placeholder while it's being tested on the alpha. So we'll have to see how those work out in beta testing, or once the patch is live, or once the expansion is live. There's also some new pets. Pile of Bones from Archaeology. This is a bind and pickup pet, but I'm imagining you'll be able to cage it to trade. And this is what this one looks like here on the Wowhead post. There's a few toys as well. Dance of the Dead summons a ghostly dancing witch, and Croak summon a plague of toads. And these are rewards from archaeology in Battle for Azeroth. So those are pretty much the only major updates in this week's alpha build. However, I do go on to then talk about mission tables in Battle for Azeroth. There was a screenshot shared, which is not being displayed here for some reason. Let me see if I can find out why that is. Should be showing up here on the post itself. This is a correct link that or an incorrect link that I've put in. That should be working fine. That's what should be displaying. That's a bit strange. Anyway, we'll go back in and fix it after the stream. I guess it's showing up on the on Chrome. It should be fine elsewhere. Anyway, the screenshot there that we showed had the mission table itself. There's no indication of any gold missions just yet, but it's kind of a guarantee at this point that gold missions will be reintroduced to Battle for Azeroth, simply because the general population wouldn't be able to keep up with the rate of inflation as it stands today. If there's no way to generate gold directly, it would very much hinder a lot of people's gameplay or access to the game. And just kind of taking a step back, Ian Hazacostas, the game director, indicated that the mission system would be further scaled down compared to Legion, and it would be a smaller implementation than it was moving from Draenor to Legion. So moving from Legion to Battle for Azeroth is going to be a smaller system again. So I think we'll see a more focused team of followers or champions, and maybe fewer missions but greater rewards possibly, depending on how they intend to take the direction of those mission tables. And it's all going to be part of the war campaign for the expansion rather than tied to a specific class. WoW Talks speculates on the motivation for gold missions too. As I said, we don't have confirmation for gold missions yet, but we do have to assume a decent part of retention at the tail end of Legion is from the Order Hall application, keeping people in. I know it's at least true with WoW Talks rather, and quite a few on the WoW Economy subreddit. It's essentially like those iOS games where you log in every X number of hours to get your prize, except instead of speeding things up with microtransactions, we pay a subscription. There's kind of an interesting parallel to compare in-game missions being able to get accessed via the mobile application, and compare that to the weekly subscription, or monthly subscription rather, that we pay for WoW. Although obviously a lot of you guys listening don't actually pay any real money for your subscription, you can just buy it with in-game gold. But we do talk a bit about that coming on here, because especially with the WoW token, when you do buy your subscription with in-game gold, it actually generates more revenue for Blizzard, since someone else would have had to pay more real money for that token compared to the gold buyer, or the person buying with gold would have done with a regular paid subscription. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody involved, and it makes business sense for Blizzard to continue to push that. Thank you, Panzer, for the host, very much appreciated. I hope you're doing well today. The good news is, if the gold missions are reintroduced in Battle for Azeroth, and you're already utilising an army of alts for Legion gold missions, it'd be good news, because you'll be able to continue doing that, or doing the same thing in the next expansion. Personally, I haven't done missions on any character for several months now. I do find the mission system particularly interesting as a form of gold making compared to playing the auction house and crafting professions, etc. On the other hand, it does offer a guaranteed way for players to generate revenue who aren't necessarily interested in playing the auction house for whatever reason. And since you can min-max it, you can invest a bit of time and resources to scale it up as a gold making method without relying on anyone but yourself. So whether you identify as a gold maker or just a player of WoW in general, there always needs to be a way for you to acquire gold in that manner, in my opinion. So those gold missions are pretty much inevitable to be reintroduced to the game. It does keep people in. in the game and being able to purchase consumables and repair armor and stuff like that. So it'd be great to see that being reintroduced. Andrew says, will you ever accept regular credit card payment or debit cards for Trade Skill Master? I can't use PayPal. We do handle those kind of payments through PayPal, but unfortunately we can only handle those payments through PayPal. You don't need to have what was I going to say? Yeah, PayPal balancer, etc. You can use your card via PayPal. But yeah, if you want to catch me on Discord after the Wowhead segment here, we can talk through that. But yeah, that was the first section of the blog. We have the enchanting pet, we have the new engineering mounts, the new pets from archaeology and the toys, and then the mission tables with gold making a comeback. Not confirmed, but pretty much guaranteed. So discussion points on this section. Are you personally happy to see a return of the mission tables in Battle for Azeroth? And will you be forming an alt army to participate in the gold missions early on in the expansion? Because a few people have been setting up their alts and stuff late on in Legion, so if there are gold missions in Battle for Azeroth, it'd be cool to get in on that early. And then what do you think of the new mounts, toys and pets that have been data mined? So leave your comments in the chat or on the blog post itself. That's the first section of the blog this week, so I'll take this opportunity to remind you guys that there is a giveaway active right now. If you are listening on the Wowhead homepage or on the blog post itself, do feel free to click through into the stream and type the word goblin in the chat and be participating for your chance to win 30 days of WoW game time, which will be available to both NA or EU players. You do have to be following the stream in order to win, so make sure you come and click through and get involved. I'll be announcing the winner after we finish talking to the Wowhead blog here. And once again, we do have a little bit of extra luck enabled for the subscribers of the channel, just to give you guys a little bit of extra chance to win, who have been supporting the stream since I've been here on Twitch over the last few months. Since I won't play serious in terms of raiding or PvP, I'll try to level up my characters a lot earlier in Battle for Azeroth, so most likely going to get in on that train. Sounds like a good idea, Totems. I'm going to be in the same position as we discussed in my blog last week. I took a step back from raiding, so I'm going to be 100% focused on the gold making side of things for the launch of the expansion. Captain Rex with the gnome. It's not going to work quite there. Wolvenhunt is going to do the gold missions as well. It makes about 10,000 gold per day now from missions, so it's a nice little extra with no work at all at this point. Yeah, it's pretty simple once you've put the time in to set up your order halls or your mission tables in the next expansion. Just being able to log in every now and then to start off your missions, and even being able to do it via the mobile companion app is such a great idea. Phyllis is not going to do any gold missions. I probably won't do more than on my main character for the missions as I do today. But yeah, we'll see how that all pans out. So moving on to the next section of the blog this week is all about bank alts. This week we had a discussion on the WoW Economy subreddit. Asma, I guess, shared some tips of their own and asked the wider community for their own opinions and suggestions on how to optimize bank alts, or alts with banks perhaps, to maximize your efficiency. So Asma shared the tips of he or she was using a level 1 human mage for the longest time, but they spent a little bit of time to level up to level 16 to get access to enchanting and also the blink ability for mages. So they didn't have an enchanter prior to that, and they noticed a decent amount of increase in profit from just being able to disenchant things as and when required, and also being able to blink in between the auctioneer and the mailbox and the bank potentially. So having an alt specifically for banking purposes can be quite an alien thing for a lot of new people in the goblin community or gold making community. But it is very useful to store items you may not need immediately, or items you have a surplus stock of that can be replaced on your other characters as and when you need it. So for example, I have a couple of characters just holding a bunch of Legion materials, and I'll probably be transitioning those characters into materials for Battle for Azeroth once we get there. You can also send important crafted items or high value things to your bank alt to post from one character and handle it all at once in the same place at the same time. You can even have that bank alt on a secondary WoW account that you can log into simultaneously with your primary account, and it gives you a massive competitive advantage, simply because it allows you to continue posting and reposting your items while you play the game normally with your main characters and alts on your primary account. And that's obviously very useful for high turnover markets like current content, enchants and gems and consumables. If you're able to spend more time at the auction house reposting and relisting your things without having to interrupt your regular gameplay, it definitely gives you a competitive advantage, being able to repost more frequently than your competition, because sometimes your competition has to log out, go on to other characters, they may have a raid in the evening, or they may just be in a dungeon, they can't repost. So the more times you can repost on those high frequency items, gives you a definite edge in the competition there. Crexia leveled beyond level 16 with their mage, so they have a level 110 mage as a bank alt, and they spend their time in Northrend Dalaran, the old version of Dalaran, with the clockwork gnome and the engineering shop. Anybody can access the auction house. In the old Dalaran auction house area, you don't need to have engineering there.
Hey, how you doing?
Plus there's a mailbox right outside and a bank just around the corner with your flight form or flight mount. Plus having your own port or teleport there makes everything super quick and painless. And they even suggested that they make a bit of extra cash on the side because a lot of people ask to be ported around to different zones and different continents and different expansion areas, so you can pick up a few little bits of extra gold there. I do realise there's a few links missing to posts on the post here, so I will go back in and fix those up after we talk through it. But yeah, just having characters on the side, being able to access the bank and store stuff is very useful for many reasons. But now that you've got a bank alt, what about an alt with a bank? Unforgiven 817 asks why goblins have guild banks upon guild banks. They've seen a lot of characters who have their own guild, and they've heard that they utilise their guild bank as additional storage, but they didn't really know why that was the case and what was going on with that. And as I said earlier, a personal alt or bank alt can be a bit of an alien idea if you're brand new to gold making. You'll most likely have everything you own listed on the auction house when you're first starting out, but there are certainly times where that mindset doesn't make 100% sense. So making a guild bank to store stuff is definitely beneficial once you get to that stage. I don't know how to pronounce this name, but Lagrangian 21 on the subreddit breaks down the reasons for owning a guild bank or guild vault for gold making. So first point is crafting regions. That can be from the stuff that they found that was cheap on the auction house, or from shuffles or old dungeon or raid runs, or leveling an alt. They only post one of each transmog at a time. It sounds like they're in the transmog market, so any multiples of the transmog they get is stored in the guild bank for future use or future posting. They flip a lot of stuff as well, so buying things during holiday events, such as the Noble Garden and the Lovers in the Air event or the Hallows End event. There's lots of holiday related items from those that you can buy from the vendors or farm during the event, and you can store them in your guild bank until the prices have reached a point where they're interesting to sell. It's not really necessary to sell those holiday events during the holiday event itself. You can hold on to them for future use as the values start to go up. And of course, just hoarding in general. As you guys know who are regulars to the stream, I have several guild banks, or 2 guild banks worth of stuff and materials spilling out the mailbox and dropping out my bags everywhere. And I would have a screenshot in here, but it doesn't seem to be loading either. But we can pop that up here on the stream once I find it, and we can demonstrate it here on stream afterwards as we go through our auction house stuff. But yeah, I took a quick screenshot of my personal bags, my personal bank and region bank, plus my guild vault for demonstration purposes. I mean, once you get to the point of having a bunch of materials and a bunch of stock, you do need to have the storage space to keep it all in check, keep it all tracked, etc. So that should be popping up here in the middle of the blog. Besides items, you can also deposit gold into your guild bank. A lot of people don't realise that. The player gold cap is obviously 1 copper less than 10 million, but so is the guild bank gold cap. If you're at the point where your characters literally can't acquire any more gold, you can use your guild banks to deposit your liquid gold until it's ready to be used. So one player can have 10 million gold in your bags, and then also 10 million gold in the guild bank that they are in, if you've got access to the guild bank. So that's a total of 20 million or 2 copper less than 20 million gold on one character. Noble Lie 17 expands on this. They also have a guild bank to store gold, because they prefer to have all of their gold in one location just in case they need to make a big purchase. For example, they spent over 1.5 million gold in one shot on cooking materials, so being able to then deposit that back into the guild bank to use while they're crafting is very important for them, and I think it makes sense to have as much storage as possible just to account for all the different scenarios. Even further down the line of gold making, they also can be used to move between servers. A guild transfer in the in-game store services does cost a little bit more than a regular character transfer, however it does come with the added benefit of bypassing the 250,000 gold player transfer limit, since you can transfer a guild that contains 1 copper less than 10 million gold, plus obviously the inventory of the guild. So this is very, very useful when you're at the point of hunting for incredibly rare or valuable items that aren't available on your server, for example the trading card game mounts, or some incredibly rare recipe that you do need to move some liquid gold to a different server in order to purchase or make a purchase like that. So many different uses for a guild bank. If you're just starting out, it may not make sense to make one yourself, but even just having a separate alt character to handle some of your items can make your gold making just that little bit more efficient and make some more sales. And at the end of the day, if you're making more sales, then it's definitely a good thing to do. So that's the end of that section of the blog. Discussion point for this one is, do you have a guild bank to store your wares? If you do have a guild bank, what did you call it if you're a goblin? And have you ever transferred a guild bank to another server to make a purchase? And what was the story with that? What did you go and buy, or what did you sell potentially if you made a transfer? So that's the second section of the blog. Coming up on the third and fourth after this one. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are of this one in the chat, and I will take this opportunity once again to remind you guys that there is a game time giveaway active on the stream today. If you are listening on the Wowhead homepage or on the blog post itself for this week's WoW Economy Weekly Wrap Up, do feel free to come into the stream, click on the channel, and type the word Goblin in the chat for your chance to win 30 days of WoW game time. And it is open to both EU and NA players, but you do have to be following the stream in order to claim your prize if you're picked. Don't forget to follow indeed. Thank you for that, Alizara. We'll be doing a giveaway every Saturday while we're talking to the Wowhead blog, and the winner will be announced once we've finished chatting through the post itself. But thanks for joining me today. Hope you are all doing well on this fine Saturday evening or afternoon. Will the mass prospect eventually keep track of destroying averages, or will this be done only with the destroying window? It's because that's a spell pody that doesn't get tracked by TSM destroying, but that can certainly be investigated for the future. And of course, just a quick reminder, there is a little bit of extra luck for subscribers for the giveaway today, just so you guys who have been supporting the channel get a bit more chance to win as a thank you. I have a guild. One tab is entirely full of sumptuous fur, one tab is half full of triggers, I guess that's the engineering pet, and another tab with about 10,000 Spirit of Harmony. Very nice, Gurga. That's what I like to hear. Still moaning over here, absolutely. Another great post. Appreciate the time you put into these things every week. Thank you very much, Guidas. I hope you're doing well today. But welcome everybody. I see some Gumsio in the chat for everybody that is tuning in for the first time. I really do appreciate you coming to hang out today. Giveaway's rigged, so I'm not going to win. No rigging here. But yeah, let's continue with the blog post. We have a newbie crash course, Introduction for Beginners. We have an incredible contribution to the gold making community once again from Shira. Perhaps a final major contribution since just taking a bit of a step back outside of her off time from work. But what an incredible resource that Shira has put together for us. I think this is going to be a YouTube video used for a very long time because it is what you would call evergreen content. It doesn't reference anything specific. It's just kind of a high-level overview of everything that you can do to make gold. So whenever anybody asks the question, how do I make gold? What they would really mean is, what can I do to make gold? And a lot of people don't have any idea of the simple things or the fundamentals of the different methods of gold making. So this video is just a fantastic resource to be able to share with people, to give kind of a really, not in-depth, but definitely a trustworthy resource and overview of everything you can do to make gold. Can you link the Wowhead page? Absolutely. So the link to the blog post that we're talking through here is linked in the chat. ! Wowhead. What's up, Gold Goblin? I'll be doing well today. But yeah, after spending many hundreds of hours or possibly thousands of hours building Shira's famous Trade Skill Master profile to share with the public, her work and opinions are trusted to the highest degree within the Goblin community. I think it's just a testament really to the work that she puts in and knowledge that she shares. So in this new video, Shira discusses all the fundamentals of gold making. Again, not necessarily specifically what to do to make gold, but what you can possibly do to make gold in World of Warcraft, so that you can decide what looks interesting and could be worth investigating for you to participate in on your server. So the video itself is about 24 minutes, but let's be honest, discussing these things properly does require some time to provide some context and accurate information, but Shira gets directly to the point and outlines all the possible methods to make gold, including farming, professions and crafting, auction house activities, mission tables, and selling PvE or PvP services for gold. Obviously there's very many different aspects within each of these categories that Shira talks about and what you can do to make gold. But I'd highly recommend using this as a resource, as I say, to share with your friends or anyone you may encounter that asks the age-old question, how do I make gold? And as I say, what the question quite often should be is, what can I do to make gold? Some players don't know where to begin, and because there's so many options, it's difficult to know what to pay attention to and what to ignore, especially with all the clickbait YouTube videos out there saying, oh my goodness, I made 1 million gold with this one easy trick. But that's normally never really the case, if we're going to be honest about it. But yeah, Shira's video does a perfect job explaining it all, and it will always be relevant as it does not reference specific items or methods that are tied to a particular patch or expansion, and I'll definitely be using this video for a long time in the Goblin and Gold Making community. So I've already linked it and pinned it in the Discord server, the WoW Economy Discord server. I tried posting it on the main WoW subreddit, but I got downvoted a bit, so I gonna try again with that later. Taking the family to the park. Have fun regardless. Thanks for stopping in to say hello. So yeah, link to the video, or rather to the blog post with the video, is in the chat. ! Wowhead. Check that one out. Moving on into the next part of this section, the Lazy Goldmaker put together a really great post recently regarding some myths and misconceptions that goldmakers have when they're starting out. So maybe you've made the decision rather to start out with gold making. You've heard some things and you've read some things, but you're not really sure what you're doing just yet. But you've been given some sage advice from Trade Chat or a friend that dabbles a little bit in the auction house but doesn't really know what they're doing either. There may be some concepts that you're aware of but don't fully understand, and you've picked up on your research, but thankfully the Lazy Goldmaker is here to clarify and dispel some myths in gold making that newcomers may have attached themselves to, and his recent blog post covers some of these common misconceptions. Well, you have to stay within the stream to win the giveaway. I have to sleep soon. It's almost 3 AM. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up the blog post here after this section. There's not really much more to talk about after this, and I'll be selecting the winner after we finish talking to the blog post. So probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be announcing and picking the winner. So, some of these misconceptions, Lazy Goldmaker's using his own experiences as examples, and he admits he's not the richest player in WoW, but everything that he does is definitely proof and evidence to the fact that the stuff he's talking about are not universal truths. So the first major one is gold making is about farming. This is definitely the most prevalent notion among players with no knowledge of gold making. Obviously farming is a legitimate route to get rich in WoW, but obviously, or absolutely no denying that, it is not the only way, however. And in the Lazy Goldmaker's opinion, absolutely not the best way. He makes all of his gold from the auction house, and most of it is from flipping, but he also makes a nice amount of gold from crafting professions. And I think that's one of the main questions that do get asked when new people join my stream or hang out in the WoW economy community. See, what can I go and farm to make gold? And that's not necessarily the best or first thing that anybody should do. So obviously check out the gold making introduction video above that to check out some more methods, etc. Next misconception or myth, gold making requires auction house camping. Lazy Goldmaker's never camped any auctions, don't even follow auctions to see how quickly they get undercut, and he definitely still gets plenty of sales. You can increase your sales by cancelling and reposting constantly, especially in high volume markets, which is something we've already chatted about today. But this is very firmly into nice to have territory. Lazy Goldmaker gets sales across all of his markets, even with just one repost a day, and that includes cutthroat markets like glyphs and enchanting. And I'm in a pretty similar situation. Druzzlet and Foresight being incorrect again. I'm going to have to make sure he doesn't do that anymore. The giveaway is still active, guys. Just ignore my chatbot. He's making things up. Next misconception is you should find a good realm for gold making. I've always said on stream and in the community, there's no such thing as the best server to make gold on. Every server can be used to make gold on. It just depends on what strategies you employ to make the gold on that server. Obviously, some strategies will be better for low pop servers. Some strategies will be better for high pop servers. It just depends on the kind of server that you're on, of which server you're on. It definitely happens or comes up very often regarding realm choice. I always say if you have friends that are playing the game, is to join them on their server and play the game with them, because there's nothing better than playing the game with people that you know and enjoy playing with. And some people do have a preference to join higher population servers over low population servers. It just depends again on which kind of strategies that you're using and what you enjoy doing in the game to make gold. If you do play the game for more than the auction house, Lazy Goldmaker does suggest choosing a realm that maximizes your enjoyment, because again, you're not going to make the most out of your gold making or your playtime if you're not enjoying it. So whether that's doing RP on an RP server or ones your friends are on, as I say, or your old guild, it does make a bit difference in the end. You will definitely meet competition regardless of the kind of server that you're on. So just quickly bouncing through the last parts of the sections here. You need to analyse your market before jumping in. I think Lazy Goldmaker does have a phrase for this, is analysis paralysis. You're spending too much time reading about things instead of doing things, and it's very, very easy just to jump in and try things out. I think a lot of people are too scared to make mistakes and feel like they're not going to be able to recover from things, but the fact that you can just go out and generate some more gold means that you can start over whenever you need to. So just jumping in, trying things out, it's all about trial and error and learning from doing more than reading about what everybody else is doing, because what works for one person might not work for you. Cornering a market is how you get rich is also another misconception. You don't necessarily have to dominate or control particular markets. You can certainly diversify, which is one of my key mantras. Do as much as possible, all the different professions, all different kinds of flipping. Even if you're just focusing on farming different things is very important so that you're not oversaturating a particular market. Large undercuts are always bad. I would have somewhat of a disagreement with this one. If you're not specifically looking to offload a bunch of stuff or just to get rid of an item, I would say there's not really much of a reason to undercut more than 1 copper. Lazy Goldmaker wouldn't notice someone heavily undercutting outside of seeing some more below min price messages in TSM, but he much prefers entering a ton of different markets rather than trying to min-max 1 or 2, as the marginal gains are just not worth the massive increase in time commitment. So I definitely have experienced that myself regarding not noticing when somebody's undercut dramatically, because my auctioning operations will still undercut that deep undercut, and then I just continue causing the market to go down. But at the end of the day, I'm still posting at a profit, so I don't really care that much to try and reset markets individually or keep an eye on what other people are doing. But yeah, if you've enjoyed the content featured in the weekly wrap-up from the Lazy Goldmaker or his blog directly, he has announced recently that he's going to be starting a Patreon with some exciting benefits soon, including some one-on-one tuition with Trade Skill Master and his TSM profile, along with access to a private forum where you can ask him questions and stuff. So definitely check that out if you've been enjoying his blog posts. So that's the end of that section. Just before we chat through the last one, which isn't going to take long, it's just a bunch of lockbox data. I will remind you guys that there is a giveaway active right now. If you would like to participate for your chance to win 30 days of WoW game time for both EU or NA players, come and type the word goblin in my stream chat, and don't forget to follow the stream, otherwise the winner will be re-rolled. If you are listening on the Wowhead homepage or on the blog post itself, do feel free to click through and get involved. It'd be great to see you. Come and say hello. Large undercuts can recreate a price, and you don't want items to be worthless. However, sometimes it's necessary. Yeah, sometimes people just post stuff for way too much. Got to undercut those people for sure. Yeah, it definitely depends on what the market is doing at the time. Selling it isn't a speeding game, it's about to get the highest results, yeah. Yeah, Druz is definitely trying to say that the giveaway has finished, but it is not finished. We're going to be selecting a winner here in just a few minutes.
Hey, how you doing?
Last section of the stream, or of the blog post rather, is all about lockboxes. Our friend Student has put up a bunch of videos opening up 100 of each kind of lockbox. So we've got some steel lockboxes, strong iron, reinforced steel and ghost iron lockboxes. I did feature the 2 best ones at the beginning to get you guys to check them out. But he got some interesting patterns in rare transmog in his lockboxes, but it's worth keeping in mind that these lockboxes aren't farmed for specifically. They're just obtained while farming for other items like transmog, pets and materials. And the stuff that was opened in students' videos are more than likely taken many weeks or even months of farming, gathering other things to get to the number 100 to see what kind of stuff's in them. Another kind of lockbox of note is the heavy junk box. This one is used as part of getting, or etting, as I typoed here, the Ravenhold reputation to Exalted for the insane in the membrane title or achievement. Everyone starts at 0 out of 3,000 neutral. And once you have that achievement, you get to use the title name the insane across all your characters. And players will definitely pay a sizable sum of gold to acquire those junk boxes so that they don't have to farm them themselves. So definitely worth checking those out. There's a good few routes and methods to farm these heavy junk boxes, and people definitely pay a premium so that they don't have to get out there and farm themselves. So that's pretty much this week's WoW Economy Weekly Wrap-Up. Just featured a few different things in the latest alpha build, talking a little bit about mission tables and speculating on gold missions, bank alts and alt banks, guild banks, and how they're useful and what they can be used for. Newbie crash course from Shara, a fantastic video introducing all the different methods and fundamental concepts of gold making. Definitely going to be a useful resource for many months, if not years to come. A bunch of misconceptions and myths that get dispelled by the Lazy Goldmaker, and some data in terms of what you get from lockboxes. So before we wrap up the Wowhead section of the stream today, just would like to remind you guys one more time that there is a giveaway active, and we're going to be picking a winner here in a couple of minutes, probably once the time in game here gets to, or even the time itself. in about 3 minutes. So last chances you guys to come and get involved. If you are listening on the Wowhead homepage, do feel free to click through into the stream itself and say hello and type the word goblin in the chat for your chance to win 30 days of WoW game time. You do need to be following the stream in order to be a winner if you get selected, otherwise it will get re-rolled. I'll be picking a winner here in just a second. If you do have any questions about today's blog or any comments or anything you'd like to share in the chat, spend the next minute or so answering any questions you might have. How's it going, Bill? Is anyone going to find out if that engineering mount in BFA can mine ore? Yeah, we'll have to see if it is going to be an evolution of the Sky Golem and see what can be done with the mount. But we'll have to wait until either beta testing or when we can get onto the mount in the alpha.
I got what you need.
Good luck, people. Absolutely. So last chance here, or last chances to come and get involved in the giveaway. If you transfer a guild bank, what happens to the guild lead? So the guild lead is the only person who can initiate a guild transfer, and the guild leader and the guild bank gets transferred to the target server, and then a duplicate of the guild without any of the achievements, without any of the guild bank, is left on the original server. So all of your guild mates that were in the previous guild, if you did have anybody in the guild, remains in the guild, and they each get a message to say, by the way, your guild leader has transferred the guild to another server. Click this link if you'd like to follow them and join them in the new guild. Yeah, it is a 2-for-1. That's why it costs a little bit more. So the guild leader transfers with the guild bank. It's a little bit more expensive to do that. I hope that the mount will get changed to BOE. That would be pretty cool, Jack. But I think because it looks so much like Mimran's head, not likely to be a BOE sale. Focus on personal transportation over mining, meaning it will likely not have any mining features. Most likely marbles, but we can live in hope and see how it turns out. Maybe there'll be some other mounts that can gather some stuff. Song is incredible, absolutely doppelbock. We have oh, I've totally had the wrong song thing on at the moment, or during the stream here.
Hey, how you doing?
How much is guild server transfer? I think it's $40 US, maybe a little bit less. Depends on the region, I guess. But yeah, that is 5:55 my time locally, so we're going to go ahead and start selecting a winner. So last 20 seconds to participate in the giveaway. We do have, how many is that? Can't read it on OBS. We have 157 people entering. If you haven't already, come and type the word goblin in the chat. And we'll pick the giveaway winner. Thank you guys for joining us today, and good luck, everybody. Hopefully this works correctly. Okay, 3, 2, 1, roll the giveaway. Oh my goodness, Jack won the giveaway. That's absolutely hilarious. Congratulations, Jack. Well done on winning the giveaway. I think he's dipped too many people to get those wins in. That's absolutely brilliant. Congratulations, Jack. It is rigged now. That's all. But thank you very much, everybody, for participating, and congratulations, Jack, on winning the 30 days of WoW game time. For what I recount. Yeah, let's see some cheers in the chat for Jack, and commiserations everybody who did not win today. But do not fear, do not fear, I should say. We're going to be doing another giveaway next week. Probably a double whammy, because it is the last edition of the Wowhead blog for the month. So there'll be a giveaway on the blog post itself, and also a giveaway on the stream while we are talking through the blog. So definitely click that follow button if you'd like to get notified when I go live next Saturday and every time in between. Donut fear, yeah, exactly, Malreth. But yeah, thank you everybody for participating, and thanks for hanging out with me today while we talk through the Wowhead blog. I'm going to go ahead and remove the embed from the home page, so we're not overstepping anything. But yeah, thanks everybody once again for joining me today. If you would like to continue watching and hanging out with me on stream while I go through my auction house stuff, restocking some professions and general gold making stuff. If you do have any questions or issues with Trade Skill Master or gold making in general, and you are listening on the Wowhead homepage, do feel free to click through and come and hang out, because I'm going to be removing the embed here in just a second, so you won't be able to hear me anymore. Let's remove these. Oh, I don't need to remove that just yet. There we go.